Welcome back to the Math Survival Guide. My name is Ceuster and I'm founder of the Ceuster Academy. In this video and new series of videos, I'm going to talk about polynomials. But before starting, please click on the subscribe button if you didn't do it yet. Click on the bell button so that every time we post a new video, YouTube will inform you about it. And let's start with this new video. Basically, it's a new series where we're going to talk about polynomials. And in this first video, I will define what polynomials are. When we look at the mathematical equations and expressions, we have different types of expressions that we can consider. And we look at expressions and polynomials. When we have expressions, we have variables, typically indicated by the letters x, y, z. And when we have more than 3 variables, we can add an index xi, yi, and zi. And we can have as many variables as we want, but always a finite number. We also have coefficients. Coefficients are typically indicated by the letters a, b, c. They're real numbers, but we can also add an index when we have more variables than just those 3. And of course we have operators. Those operators are powers, multiplication, division, addition, and subtraction. And we combine all those operators with the variables and the coefficients. When we look at the mathematical expression and we look at some examples, we can identify different types of expressions. First one, 5x to the power 3 plus 3x minus 2. We have square root of x plus 10. And we have x minus 2y divided by x squared plus 3. The first one, 5x to the third plus 3x minus 7, is a polynomial. The second one and the third one are not polynomials. Let's have a look at the definition of a polynomial. And in this case, I will look at a polynomial with order n and with only one variable. The polynomial then can be written as an equation as a sum of terms. And the first term is a index n times x to the power n. Then we have a n minus 1 multiplied by x to the power n minus 1. And each step, each new term has a lower order, and we find the link between the power and the name of the coefficients in the index of the coefficients. So a index n corresponds with x to the power n and so on. And we continue, each term has a lower power or order. So finally we arrive to the end of the polynomial. We find a2 times x to the square plus a1 times x to the power 1, which is of course equal to x, plus a0 multiplied with x to the power 0, which is of course equal to 1, and we find the last term being a0. Now when we write this, we can say this is the polynomial an. A index n refers to the power of the highest order term. We also have those coefficients a0 up to an, and they are real numbers. The first coefficient, different from 0, in this case an, defines the order of the polynomial. We also have n. N is in fact a positive integer, and n is in fact the power or indicates the powers of the different variables of the variable x in this case. X is one of the variables, or in this case the only variable. Like I said before, we may have polynomials which have more than one variable. This is the lead term, so an times x to the power n is the lead term, is the term with the highest power of the variable, and which is different from 0, which has a coefficient an different from 0. N is the degree of the polynomial. It's the highest power that has a coefficient an different from 0, and an is the lead coefficient of the polynomial. Let's look at some special type of polynomials, and we call them a monomial, a binomial, and a trinomial. The first one is the monomial, 5x to the power 4. It means that there is only one term in the polynomial, and this is 5x to the power 4. It's in fact a monomial of the fourth power. When we look at 3x plus 2, we have two terms. So in this case, we have a binomial, b means 2, 3x plus 2, so there are two terms, and basically we have a binomial of the first power. The last one is a trinomial. We have three terms, and the trinomial is 7x to the power 4 plus 3x to the square minus 1. And this is a trinomial of the fourth order, or fourth degree, or fourth power. Now basically we can look at polynomials with multiple variables. We looked at in the beginning at one variable x, but we can have more than one variables. So basically in this case we have the polynomial 5x y z with z to the sixth power plus 3xy to the square plus 4xz minus 5. Here we have three variables x, y, z, and this equation complies with the conditions of the polynomial. Now when we look at the lead term, 5xy z to the power 6, in this we find the variables x, y, and z, and we find the lead coefficient, which is 5, and finally we find the order, which is x, y, z to the power 6, and we have to add the orders of all the variables. So in this case, x and y have order or power 1, z is to the sixth power, so we have 1 plus 1 plus 6 is equal to 8. Let's have a look at some examples of expressions and identify what type of polynomial they are. First, we have 5x to the square plus 3x minus 4. The second expression is 7x to the power 7. Then we have 5. And the last one is 7x plus 4 divided by 3x. Now you can stop the video for a few seconds and try to identify what type of polynomial we have and what is the order. So let's start with the first expression, 5x to the square plus 3x minus 4. Well, this is in fact a trinomial of the second order. And we see it, 5x to the square is the lead term. The power of x is 2, and that's the highest power. That's why we call it a trinomial, because it has three items, three elements, and the highest order is 2. The second one, 7x to the power 7, is a monomial of the seventh order. So we have 7x to the power 7. There is only one term. 7 is the lead coefficient, and the power is 7. So a monomial of the seventh order. Then we have the third one, we have 5, it's again a monomial, but here the order is 0 because we have 5x to the power 0, which is 5 times 1, basically 5. The last expression is not a polynomial because we have a division of two polynomials. We will look at that later when we are doing certain operations with polynomials, but the expression itself, 7x plus 4 divided by 3x, is not a polynomial. So that is what I wanted to teach you during this first video about polynomials. We will be looking in more aspects of polynomials like addition, multiplication, factoring, and so on, but that will be in the next videos. Before you leave, do not forget to click the subscribe button, click on the bell button, and every time we post a new video, YouTube will inform you about it. I thank you very much, and I'm looking forward to seeing you in our next videos. Bye bye.